all about health in this edition of Jamaica Magazine. Tips on maintaining the environmental health of this beautiful island and how one company is ensuring you remain in the best of health at all times. Good day, I'm Oroya Eubanks. Come with me as the magazine unfolds.
Hey, I'm Matthew Gore, race car driver from Mobay. I'm here to talk about road safety in Jamaica today, and I would like to carry you to Hopewell and to Great River, which have been some accident hotspots recently. So come on, let's go. Okay, we're here at Great River, which is one of Mobay's hot accident spots. And one of the main reasons for this is because of speeding, going too fast. And there's a lot of straights and sudden corners that come up, like right now. So remember guys, we're not race car drivers on the road. You have to do the speed limit and be safe. So just always remember to be safe.
Good day, I'm Andrea Chizom and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, June 10. The Ministry of Health has unveiled a 5-point plan to prepare for any possible introduction of the Zika virus into Jamaica. At a JIS think tank Wednesday morning, medical entomologist Shireen Huntley-Jones said the Health Ministry would be using vector management, social mobilization, intersectoral collaboration, capacity building and legislative capacity to prevent or control the Zika virus. It is spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which also transmits chikungunya and dengue fever. That mosquito breeds around the home and other places where people converge. So the ministry is calling for increased vigilance and participation in communities across the island.
As persons take action and search their environments to identify breeding sites, that you're looking at large containers, but you're also looking at some very small places that the mosquito can be hiding.
The Health Ministry has also developed a drum cover for 45 to 55-gallon drums, which have been identified as the main breeding site for mosquitoes.
This is what we want to roll out, introduce to special or high-risk communities for usage in terms of covering up those 45-gallon drums. Because we believe once we deal with the breeding in the 45, 55-gallon drums, we would have significantly reduced the Aedes aegypti population and then reduced the risk for transmission.
There are no reported cases of the virus on the island, but the ministry officials are closely following one reported case in the Dominican Republic. In the meantime, the Health Ministry's Permanent Secretary, Dr. Kevin Harvey, says the team is working closely with parish councils to control the mosquito population. He says fogging will be done especially in high-risk areas. On Tuesday, the ministry released a fogging schedule for Kingston and St. Andrew from June 9 to 20. For the rest of this week, fogging teams will be in the communities of Pembroke Hall, Three Oaks, Glendale, Arcadia, Allardyce, Aylsham, Charlton, Orange Grove, Waterworks and Stillwell Road. During the same period, ULV sprayer teams will be in St. Benedict's or Caribbean Terrace, Cherry Gardens, Norbrook, Tucker Avenue, Long Mountain and Beverly Hills. The operation resumes on Monday, June 15 in other corporate area communities. The Transport and Works Ministry has launched new drainage guidelines for building and subdivision proposals. Portfolio Minister Dr. Omar Davies says it's an important part of government's responsibility to ensure the establishment and maintenance of safe and reliable infrastructure for both public and private sector developments.
We wish to ensure that designs for building and subdivision developments incorporate appropriate calculations for stormwater drainage in order to reduce the risk of disasters caused by flooding.
He says the new guidelines should reduce the number of development applications that are refused or returned by the authorities due to insufficient drainage infrastructure information. Education Minister Reverend Ronald Thwaites has pledged his ministry's support to help the Bustamante High School in Clarendon with its infrastructure. He was speaking while on a recent tour of some schools in the parish.
You spoke of the need for 2 classrooms, and I would like to say to you that the Ministry of Education will do everything possible that by next year this time, you have those 2 classrooms.
The minister also pledged to offer infrastructural aid for the other schools visited on the tour, Fogo Road High, Watsonton Primary and Rosewell Primary. And finally, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller began her formal engagements in Belgium Wednesday morning with a caucus meeting of CARICOM heads at the Office of Eastern Caribbean States. The Prime Minister is in the European country to attend the 2015 EU CELAC Summit, which is taking place on June 10 and 11. On Wednesday, Mrs. Simpson Miller also participated in the opening ceremony for the summit and attended the first plenary session. Tomorrow, she is scheduled to discuss international issues and development during a retreat of the heads of government of EU and the CELAC. Later in the day, the Prime Minister will attend a high-level meeting of EU and CARIFORUM heads. An estimated 61 heads of government are participating in the EU CELAC summit. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller left the island on Sunday and returns on June 13. Until then, Minister of Water, Land Environment and Climate Change Robert Pickersgill is in charge of the government. And that's it for GIS News today. Amandra Chisholm, thank you for watching.
Householders, business people, school administrators, protect yourself and your children from the Chikungunya virus. Be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Chikungunya is a virus transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which breeds in and around your home, workplace, and school. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET. And if you're experiencing symptoms of chikungunya, a sudden high fever, headache, rash, nausea, pain, stiffness, or severe joint pains, see your doctor or go to the nearest health center.
The negative effects of climate change should be of concern to all Jamaicans. The government is playing their part and you need to get on board. Learn how you can make a difference through goal number 4 of Vision 2030.
By 2030, we want to ensure that we have a healthy natural environment. How are we going to get there? We have 3 national outcomes that we want to pursue or that we are pursuing.
The first national outcome under Goal 4 of Vision 2030 Jamaica is the sustainable management and use of Jamaica's environmental and natural resources. Achieving this involves including environmental issues in all economic and social policies, increasing public awareness, and developing, implementing, and enforcing environmental laws, standards, and codes of good practice. Hazard risk reduction and adaptation to climate change is another pillar of goal number 4. To achieve this outcome, Jamaica will need to improve the design of settlements and facilities to withstand the impact of hazards and implement a comprehensive disaster management program, as well as measures to improve how we adapt to climate change. And the final plank of Goal 4 under Vision 2030 Jamaica is sustainable urban and rural development. This will demand promoting proper planning for land use and development, economic growth and development in rural areas, the design and development of environmentally sustainable communities, and safe, sanitary, affordable shelter for all Jamaicans.
Where are we today? Under this particular goal, we have mixed progress.
Jamaica has faced some challenges in effectively managing its natural environment and resources, but in recent years there have been marked improvements in this area. The recently released State of the Environment report revealed an increased focus on improving environmental management in Jamaica. This has been achieved through the creation and enforcement of standards, policies and regulations, as well as heightened environmental monitoring and greater public awareness. Improvements were also made in key elements of biodiversity, including new fish sanctuaries and more prosecutions under the Wildlife Protection Act. The State of the Environment report also showed improvements in air and water quality. Waste management is also improving, with waste management and recycling programs leading to a reduction in the amount of waste generated per person in Jamaica. Policies are now being formulated to address hazardous, medical, electronic, and white wastes. To ensure that development is in line with the island's ecosystem, the government has begun to conduct natural resource valuations that will become part of the environmental impact assessment process. On the matter of challenges identified in the area of disaster risk reduction and climate change,
you're talking about knowledge and awareness raising. You're talking about the legislation that needs the legislative infrastructure that needs to be upgraded and enforced to ensure that people are not placed into very environmentally sensitive areas that leads to disaster scenarios.
Over the last 10 years, the government has made progress in raising awareness at the community and national levels on the ways in which we can reduce hazard impacts. On the legislative side, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, is carrying out a review of the disaster management legislation of 1993.
The new act is going to be more comprehensive and will reflect a greater relationship between the environment, planning, and hazards. So the NEPA acts, the environmental acts that are having to be looked at will certainly improve the whole spectrum of disaster risk management.
Weaknesses in the physical and spatial planning system, poor land use practices, squatting and rural-urban drift are all being addressed to enhance Jamaica's sustainable urban and rural development prospects. Many changes are on the horizon. Vision 2030 Jamaica proposes to create a dynamic system of spatial planning that will effectively support urban and rural development towards economic prosperity for all parishes.
The government's plan to really look at the local government reform process is a critical plank of addressing that urban-rural problem, so to speak. And so we have to get that right, because at the end of the day, the local authorities are really supposed to be that first point of managing the space, whether it is the urban space or the rural space, and really is to bring to board the whole nexus between environmental sustainability, disaster risk reduction, and sound development planning at the local level.
Even as Goal 4 is being monitored, implemented and evaluated, the importance of the various government ministries, departments and agencies, as well as the private sector and civil society, are crucial to the success of Vision 2030 Jamaica. Remember, we all have to do our part in ensuring that Jamaica has a healthy natural environment. Let us protect the island's flora and fauna and manage natural hazards while keeping our surroundings clean and free from pollution, as we continue on our journey to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
It's for each and everyone. We're going to show the world we are more than see and stand. Through Vision 2030 Jamaica plan.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality.
Vision 2030 Jamaica plan.
Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
We're all aware that environmental and climate change resilience is a strategic priority of government. If we do not protect our natural environment while boosting our capacity and tailoring our lifestyle to deal with changes in the environment, our plans for economic prosperity will be limited to just that, a plan. And so the government has been working on a raft of measures to deal with extended changes in weather patterns, or simply put, climate change. It's all being coordinated by the Climate Change Division in the Ministry of Water, Land, Environment and Climate Change. In June 2014, government received and installed 2 automatic weather stations to enhance climate data collection by the Meteorological Services of Jamaica. The acquisition supports the strategy to achieve climate change resilience and comes courtesy of government's participation in the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center 5Cs project. Funded by the European Union, the project coordinates the region's management and adaptation to climate change. The automatic weather stations have since been installed in Manchester, one in New Forest and the other at the Sugar Industry Research Institute.
That has improved our capacity to collect climate data electronically. So we minimize the element of human error that sometimes goes along with manually reading, for example, the rain gauge and stuff like that. So information can be downloaded from this equipment and then uploaded on computer, at the head office of the Met Services of Jamaica.
There's another component to the 5Cs project that government is actively pursuing: data storage. By the end of December 2014, Jamaica should benefit from the development of a climate change data node.
It is a sort of database of climate information. So we will be developing our capacity to store data electronically, climate change data that is. And this we are getting help to do from this project. It involves us acquiring software, it involves us acquiring licenses, it involves us acquiring additional bandwidth, it involves some level of equipment as well too.
Through this upcoming database for climate change, government will be able to store and analyze information to guide policies and programs. Think about it. Information on the climate is needed for long-term planning. Based on that data, technocrats can come up with projections over a period of time. So if there's a projection for below average rainfall over the next 10 years, for example, stakeholders can plan to expand water storage facilities. That's one way of being resilient to drought, which is sometimes due to climate change.
There's also support to get help, expertise to convert handwritten climate information or data into an electronic format. And already computers have been acquired to facilitate this process, and we anticipate that in short order we'll be having persons employed to actually do the actual work of converting manual or handwritten data into data in electronic format.
Under the 5Cs project, government also continues to work on a climate change vulnerability assessment and an adaptation strategy and action plan for the fisheries sector.
That is something that we're anticipating we'll get support for to the tune of just around $150,000 US. There are some challenges at the moment in terms of the implementation time, but we are anticipating that with approval forthcoming for extension of the project, the 5Cs will be able to assist us in acquiring the technical expertise to carry out the development of the strategy and action plan as well as the vulnerability assessment.
The 5Cs project was originally scheduled to end in December 2014, but discussions are ongoing for it to be extended until June 2015. As government acts on strategic priority number 6, the administration is looking to extend a pilot program for climate change resilience. Discussions are ongoing with the Climate Investment Fund.
We have already gotten funding as a country for phase 1, just over $500,000 US for phase 1, and that helped us to prepare a number of documents. For example, the State of the Climate report for 2012. That was financed from that project.
Under Phase 2, which is being discussed with the Inter-American Development Bank, the plan is for Jamaica to integrate climate change considerations into a number of priority sectors, like health, agriculture, and tourism.
We need to develop a strategy as to how we can make these sectors more resilient to the impacts of climate change. So this particular project is going to help us to develop sector strategies outlining how and what we need to do to minimize the anticipated impacts, negative impacts of climate change.
Let's put it in context. If a beach is being eroded, tourists will no longer have an area of white sand to relax. Added to that, the infrastructure of a hotel might be threatened. But if various stakeholders take beach erosion into account while carrying out different activities, it will help to minimize the impact of climate change. The government of Jamaica, implementing feasible plans to adapt to climate change, achieving strategic priority number 6, environmental and climate change resilience.
The Jamaica Diaspora Conference is an ideal setting for Jamaicans here and overseas to contribute to the dialogue about how we can ensure that our island will become the place of choice to live, work, raise families and do business. In preparation of the 6th staging of the conference, we highlight some of the achievements to date. Hear this.
We had, for argument's sake, the establishment of the Diaspora Education Task Force coming out of 2013. Traditionally, members of the diaspora support their alma maters, but it was felt that we wanted to take a sort of global look at the education system and to have an impact on it overall. And as one of the recommendations was for the establishment of this task force, it was established, and in 2014 of February, that task force held 3 summits in Jamaica. One in Kingston, one in Portmore, one in Montego Bay. And this was in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, Jamaica Teachers Association, the Early Childhood Commission, and other stakeholders to look at the needs of the education system, the National Education Trust, and in a global way. As a result of that, teachers in the area of science, technology, engineering, and maths were granted scholarships to the La Sierra University, where 5 of them were trained at no cost to them in the teaching of maths using the technology in terms of the iPad and so on, or tablets. In the case of health, there was in Canada in 2014, July again, a health forum, which again was historic. It brought together the members of the diaspora, the members of the administration of the hospital systems in Jamaica. It put in place what they call liaison officers here in Jamaica, linking with their counterparts in the US, in the UK, and in Canada. As a result of that, we received donations from the Sunnybrook Hospital, which is the leading cancer hospital and teaching hospital in Canada. And we have also received from them support in relation to cancer care and cancer treatment. And in the area of agriculture, out of the Diaspora Conference, there's a NGO called Farm Up Jamaica that has become involved in the agriculture sector in Jamaica, putting land into agricultural production. And I think that is with the view of not only raising food security or ensuring food security, but also the prospects of probably exporting Jamaican products overseas.
The Mapping Jamaica's Diaspora Project, building a database on the human, financial, and technological resources of Jamaicans abroad, helping government to connect with Jamaicans in the diaspora for mutual development. Jamaicans living overseas are encouraged to sign up now. Spread the word to family and friends abroad. To take the survey, visit mapjadiaspora.iom.int. Information shared will be kept strictly confidential. Let's work together for our mutual growth and prosperity.
The Planning Institute of Jamaica, through its Community Renewal Program Health Fair, provided residents of Tivoli Gardens and Trenchtown with a wide range of health-based services recently. We now share with you some of the activities from the event.
Jamaicans are empowered to achieve their fullest potential. That's Goal 1 of the nation's Vision 2030 Jamaica Development Plan. Empowerment involves a good education, a skilled workforce, protection and enabling of the vulnerable, and a healthy population. So among its priorities, the government is encouraging healthy living to ensure a better quality of life for Jamaicans, young and old. It's for this reason that the Community Renewal Program, CRP, has been giving support to healthy living at the community level. The CRP was established by the PIOJ in 2011 as a broad-based mechanism for supporting the holistic development of vulnerable and volatile communities in 5 parishes across Jamaica. Recently, residents of Trench Town and Tivoli Gardens benefited from the CRP's information, health and wellness fair.
The main function of the CRP is to bring together agencies that will assist in the development and transformation of communities that are vulnerable and volatile. And as part of that process, we want to have people understand what are the roles and functions of agencies that are supposed to serve them, and also to support the attainment of good, healthy lifestyles.
The CRP and its partners ensured that the residents were granted access to health-based information and services. And for those who wanted tips on housing, childcare, or just relax and be entertained, they got it all at what seemed like a one-stop shop for holistic development, free of cost.
We're doing screening for various health checks such as diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, iron level, hemoglobin. We're doing foot care, and we're also doing body weight checks. This is fantastic because a number of persons that we have seen today, their blood sugars and blood pressures are so badly out of control, they have no medication. And luckily a doctor is here because normally we'd have to send them to the hospital.
Health fairs of this nature in these communities are well needed and very important because persons in these communities oftentimes are not able to access certain services. The aim is to help to reduce fertility rates, to ensure people can access the wide range of sexual and reproductive health services, and also to make them more aware of the different family planning options that are available, the different STI tests that can be done, and to provide them the opportunity to experience good quality health care.
Residents also got a chance to find out more about a range of other government services.
So we thought it was wise today to come out so we could inform the public of what it is that the government is doing to try and assist children, as well as to inform and educate parents.
At our booth, we have a lot of persons coming in to ask about the program. Apparently, some of them don't really know about the NHF, so it's a privilege to educate them on the different services that we offer.
Well, partnership with the CRP is something we do all the time because we believe that in the business of offering housing, there are other things that are needed to happen in the community. And so we always partner with the CRP to make sure that those other things happen. We want to say to people what you need to do to make sure you can own a home. And we emphasize that once you're contributing to the trust, you don't have to own a home where NHT is building. You can own a home wherever there's a house in Jamaica. You just need to apply for it.
Trench Town and Tivoli Gardens residents were grateful for the combined efforts of the various entities and the CRP.
I would just like to say thanks to the Community Renewal Program.
I think it's good because most of these stuff you have to pay, and if you don't have health card, you know that go.
And we are glad that we could make it today, and we are proud. We are proud and happy about the people that turn up to this health service and accept what they have to offer.
They should make it something that's annual at least, and not just for Tivoli Gardens but other communities as well. I'm sure they would look forward to having something like this.
I hope they will go to other communities and do the same thing that they are doing for my community in Trench Town.
And they have. The Community Renewal Program has staged a similar fair in a number of other vulnerable communities, and there are plans to stage health fairs in several others. The fact is, the CRP, with its international and local development partners, emphasizes holistic development in 100 volatile and vulnerable communities, and the health fair is one step in ensuring this. To learn more about the Community Renewal Program, visit the Planning Institute of Jamaica's website, pioj.gov.jm, or call 960-9339.
Continue to check us out on our website and YouTube channel. Keep sending your feedback through our Facebook and Twitter pages. And remember, the JIS News app can be downloaded from the Google Play Store, so get it and keep up to date with news you can use. That's our show for today. I'm Arroyo Eubanks. Tune in tomorrow for another informative program. Enjoy the rest of the day.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.